Every morning, long before most of Manila wakes up, thousands of engines come to life across the city. In narrow streets, crowded neighbourhoods, and busy transport terminals, jeepney drivers prepare for another day on the road. Some have barely slept. Others are already thinking about fuel costs, traffic, and whether they will earn enough money to support their families that day. For millions of Filipinos, jeepneys are simply part of daily life. They are colourful, affordable, and found almost everywhere. Students ride them to school. Workers rely on them to get to their jobs. Vendors use them to transport goods. Tourists often photograph them as one of the country's most recognisable symbols. But behind every jeepney is a story that few passengers ever stop to consider. A father trying to pay for his children's education. A husband working long hours to keep food on the table. A provider carrying the weight of an entire family. For many drivers, every passenger matters. Every trip matters. Every peso matters. And while passengers may only spend a few minutes inside a jeepney, the person behind the wheel may spend more than half of their day navigating Manila's streets. Today, we are taking a closer look at the reality of jeepney drivers in Manila. We'll explore the sacrifices, challenges, and uncertainties that define their lives. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the final part of this story reveals why so many drivers continue pushing forward despite challenges that would make most people quit. Before we proceed, kindly let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. And if you enjoy documentaries like this, boop the like button. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people. Because behind every colourful jeepney is a reality that most people never see. To understand jeepney drivers today, we first need to understand the vehicle itself. The story of the jeepney began after World War II. Following the war, military jeeps left behind in the Philippines were transformed into public transportation vehicles. Resourceful Filipinos extended the bodies, added more seating, and customized them to carry passengers. What began as a practical solution eventually became something much larger. Over time, jeepneys evolved into symbols of Filipino creativity and resilience. Bright colours, chrome decorations, religious messages, family names, and unique artwork turned each vehicle into a moving work of art. Today, the jeepney is recognised around the world as a symbol of the Philippines. For tourists, they represent culture. For photographers, they represent colour and character. For locals, they represent convenience. But for drivers, jeepneys represent something much more personal. They represent income. They represent responsibility. They represent survival. For decades, entire families have built their livelihoods around jeepneys. Some drivers inherited their routes from parents or relatives. Others spent years saving money just to enter the profession. For many of them, the jeepney isn't just transportation. It's their life. And every morning when they start the engine, they are not simply beginning a route. They are beginning another day in a constant effort to support their families. For many jeepney drivers, the day begins before sunrise. While much of Manila is still asleep, drivers are already awake, preparing for work. Some inspect tyres. Others check brakes, lights, and engines. A small mechanical problem ignored today could become a major expense tomorrow. As the city begins to wake up, drivers head toward their routes. The morning rush arrives quickly. Passengers fill seats. Traffic begins building. The work becomes non-stop. Driving a jeepney requires far more concentration than many people realise. Drivers must watch traffic, collect fares, remember passenger destinations, monitor road conditions, and remain alert to potential dangers at all times. Every day brings uncertainty. Some days passenger demand is strong. Other days are slower. Some days weather cooperates. Other days heavy rain makes driving more difficult. Yet regardless of conditions, the responsibility remains the same. Keep moving. Keep earning. Keep providing. Many drivers spend 10 to 12 hours on the road. Some spend even longer. Because for many families, the amount earned that day directly affects what can be afforded tomorrow. One of the biggest challenges facing jeepney drivers is the rising cost of keeping their vehicles running. Fuel prices can significantly affect earnings. When fuel becomes more expensive, drivers often find themselves bringing home less money despite working the same number of hours. Maintenance is another constant concern. Tyres wear out, engines break down, parts need replacing. Unexpected repairs can create serious financial pressure. A single breakdown can erase days or even weeks of earnings. And unlike large transportation companies, many drivers have limited resources available to handle these expenses. Traffic creates another challenge. Manila is known for congestion. Hours spent stuck in traffic mean fuel continues to be consumed, while income opportunities become limited. The physical demands are equally difficult. Drivers spend countless hours sitting behind the wheel. They work through intense heat. They work through storms. They work through exhaustion. And yet many continue because taking a day off often means losing income their families depend on. This is the reality most passengers never see. In recent years, discussions about transportation modernisation have created uncertainty for many drivers. Across the country, efforts have been made to improve transportation systems through newer and more modern vehicles. Many people support modernisation because of potential benefits, including safety improvements and better environmental performance. However, for many jeepney drivers, the transition creates difficult questions. Can they afford newer vehicles? Will they still be able to continue working? How will they support their families during periods of change? For drivers already facing financial pressure, these concerns feel very real. Many are not opposed to improvement. They simply worry about whether they can keep up with the costs associated with change. Behind every discussion about modernisation are thousands of families wondering what their future might look like. And for drivers who have spent decades on the road, that uncertainty can be deeply stressful. At the end of the day, jeepney drivers are much more than transportation workers. They are fathers, mothers, grandparents, providers, dreamers. Every route they drive represents a family depending on them. Every fare collected helps pay for school fees, rent, food, utilities, and daily necessities. Every long day on the road is driven by a desire to create a better future for loved ones. That is why so many continue, despite the challenges, despite the traffic, despite the long hours, despite the uncertainty. They keep showing up. They keep driving. They keep moving forward. The next time you see a jeepney navigating Manila's busy streets, remember that behind the colourful decorations and crowded seats is a person carrying responsibilities most of us will never fully see. Because the true story of the jeepney is not about the vehicle, it's about the people behind the wheel. The people who help keep Manila moving every single day. And in many ways, Their story is also the story of resilience, sacrifice, and determination that defines countless Filipino families across the country. Kindly let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. And if you enjoy documentaries like this, boop the like button. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people.